what's happening in the Hugelkultur area. They have more carrots coming up all over the bed. I've sorted out the cauliflower that I'm growing for seed. Re-netted it and just sorted out bits that needed taking away. There's a small chilli that's come up year after year. I'm hoping to catch some baby snakes for you. There seem to be a few little tiny baby snakes. Every time I'm down here I see them, but I never have my camera with me. So let's see. Normally it says I water, I see them wriggle out from the straw. This is my field of broccoli I wanted to do this year. I've got 2 beds full of broccoli in Hugel area. This is my start of field of broccoli. Don't worry about cramped growings, as these are going to be all growing tall and spreading out naturally. And again, I just over sowed it. I just scattered naturally. And there's a lot here. Hope you can see well through the net. In case you're wondering what the bottles are there for now until I manage to put some poles in and create a higher netting area, that just keeps the net off them as they're growing, so nothing can eat them from the top. So if you're starting a bed off and you don't have time like me to create all what you need, then just lay some bottles in to start with, and that will just keep the net off of your crops. Obviously the taller ones I stand them up. Make sure you've got enough net though to do that. And there's some bigger than others because I sowed some first, and then any gaps I just scattered some more. Obviously when you water them in, they're going to move the seeds. Now this is my pumpkin bed. I was so proud that I actually got these plants beyond my normal. I normally grow the Jackby little mini pumpkins that I got from In Your Yard Homestead, and I had a few seeds left of them. I'm sure you all know the size and look of the seeds, and I nurtured them in my winter indoor growing. Then I transplanted them out here, and I was so proud of them. I kept them alive because they grow very small. But if you look carefully, do you see what I see? All of them are chilies. Now chili seeds are entirely different to pumpkins, and I labelled them as I sowed them. So I don't know how this has occurred. These haven't popped up as chili seeds in the bed. These are 3 plants that I sowed indoors as pumpkins. There are only 3 here. Might look more, but there's actually only 3. These are the weirdest pumpkins I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how it happened. As I say, I labelled them as soon as I sowed them. It's not like I got mixed up with the type of seed, because chili seeds are completely different. And they were in a little bag, still from what Josh had sent me, still labelled as Jackby Little Pumpkins. The last 3 seeds I'd kept for this year. I really don't know how this has occurred, but hey, they're thriving in what was supposed to be my pumpkin bed. So I now have no pumpkins this year sown. I've run out now, so I don't know what happened to those last 3. The only thing you could say is perhaps it's my homegrown compost, and I do reuse it as much as I can, although normally as you transplant out, you transplant with it. Perhaps there was a dormant seed, but 3 exactly the same, and no pumpkins growing. I don't know. And then I have a bed here. These are again the last I have from Josh. These are Hale's Best Rock Melon, growing there. Here is Sugar Baby Watermelon. Looking a bit sorry for itself. I never know if it likes water or not water. I know there's one type of watermelon that you don't actually need to water. So I don't think it's this one, but who knows. I never have great success with watermelons here because it is so hot. So any tips on watermelons would be appreciated. And these are normal, my sweet melons. These are really juicy yellow melons. They don't grow huge. They're not huge melons, but they are very sweet, very lovely. So they're okay. They're doing well. I wouldn't say as well as the raised bed, but then these are younger ones, so they may well sort themselves out. These are much more early all-day sun here. Again and again I've harvested from these two eggplant or aubergine beds. I've just done a big harvest, but there are, I think, only 3 more just starting to come through. Look, the little babies, look like little earrings. Wouldn't that be sweet to make little earrings? So we have 2. I've got 5 different types, I think, of these, and I just mixed them all up in a bed. And this is my, what I like to call the pink marble one. Everyone loves those when I show them. So those, and I don't think there's any more coming on those at the moment. And these just keep going and going. I don't do anything with them. I might trim the tops off now and then so they don't grow too tall, because I'd rather have more low produce. Being in a very hot country, you don't want tall produce. Then we have kohlrabi. Again, I've harvested a lot of this. They always look so dry to me, but either if you water them they still look the same. There's another bit of kohlrabi here. This is a bit of a mixture. I think this is a cauliflower. Can't remember. And then this was the mother plant of the poor spinach. I've cut it back to death basically. I do water it and give it that, but I think I've harvested so many. Every single spinach, Malabar spinach you see in my garden was harvested from this one. I only managed to grow this one seed. I know this doesn't look anything, but you'll see how everything's thrived from it. The biggest one is in the vertical growing wall, pallet growing wall. When you see the massive one, that was one from here. I just cut the tops off of this one and root them. So every single one you see in my videos is from that sad mother plant that I think's done its time. This was a tomato bed. These were my winter tomatoes. So as you can see, these have all finished now. I've got tomatoes all around my garden, but I was growing tomatoes every season this year, all year round. So these were my winter ones, because as I say, this is the direct sun from early in the morning all through the day. So that made sense for winter ones, but not for the rest of the year. So I have actually planted some beans in here. I'll just home in on one just coming up. Because I thought all this Project Tomato webbing, which means you don't have to singularly stake every tomato, would be perfect for the climbing beans. And I'll link the video below to show you how I made this. Now if you look in my other videos, you'll see I've got huge pepper plants. These are the next wave. So we have a few beds of these because I'm continually growing all year long. These are the next wave, but I have huge peppers elsewhere in my garden that I'm currently using. I've taken down the webbing in this area because, as you know, Mike's making pallet rims, if you like, of all these hugel beds, and this wasn't wide enough what I'd originally put in with the webbing on. As you can see, it needs to come out a bit more yet. So I will just keep this as a normal bed and use these elsewhere, because I have 2 webbing areas already, so we use those elsewhere. This was beetroot, there's a few little ones left in there, but I've harvested from there. And another pepper area. As I say, this is a second wave. These are just starting now. Got little minis on the top. There's a bigger one coming there. So as I say, I've got things continually all year, which basically this is our main food, or what I grow, so needs to be so. These are the next wave of peppers. So I just keep moving along beds. As I eat some, or things look almost ready to produce, I plant some more. This was chard. Again, I've seeded some more. I just go along and fill any gaps. I've seeded some more. There's a random kohlrabi. And then some of these I'm letting go to seed. I use chard in all my sauces. There's another new one coming there. So there. And then that was my other winter tomato webbing area. So nothing in there now, but I'll just let that die back naturally. This is my other field of broccoli. These are before the previous one I showed you, so these are a lot bigger. And again, for now, I've just got some water bottles in there to stop anything landing on the net on the top and eating them. So yes, these are coming along, so these will be before the other ones. There's a lot there, and again I went through any gaps and just scattered some more seeds. I like natural sowing. There. And then nothing much going on in this bed. This is radish that I wanted to go to seed. Oh, carrots, these are doing very well. I think these are the yellow carrots, I have to check. I think these are yellow carrots. Last of those, which are the Uzbek, if it is the yellow ones. And again, now these were the white icicle radish, so again I wanted more seeds of those. So I've let those all go to seed. It's important to not eat all your crops, as tempting as it is. You need to, it's almost like recycling. So you have to keep some crops back. And don't just let the last ones go to seed and use those. They're not the best quality seeds. You actually want to save some of the very first ones, let those go to seed. That's a little update. Not done anything with the last bed. We've just been cutting down trees, me and my volunteer. Well, I was cutting down the trees and she was just clipping back and taking out any bad bushes that won't compost down. So these are just the last ones that I thought I'll throw on there, and then some leaves will compost down. I've still got olives from last year. This is not the only place, but I've still got a lot more to clip back. I do it with little tiny hand secateurs, and I don't want the mechanical secateurs, apart from being ridiculously expensive. I do quite like using my normal secateurs. I feel like I'm working, so I have some compost going on there. And Mike will slowly, when he's not got any jobs to do, he will slowly continue to make the edges round, because that should just keep things in a little bit more, because as you know, if you've got hugel beds, sometimes the edges do spread out a bit more, so it would just confine it all. They're not raised beds per se, they're not high enough. So that's a little update there.